What's up guys? Today we're going to make a dish that's super fun, super easy, super delicious. It's almost like a Hamburger Helper from scratch with some vegetables, some meat, some noodles. Stick around and we'll get to it. So we're going to start with the meat. Today we're going to use a little bit more fatty meat because it's what we have in the fridge, so it's what we're going to use. When I cook the meat, I use a little bit of water in it to keep it from getting those little sizzly bits, and just cooks a lot more evenly if you add a little bit of water at the beginning. We're actually going to strain off the water and the fat at the end before we add it anyway because it has a lot of fat in it. While the meat's cooking on the stove, we're also going to season it. I'm going to add some chili lime, obviously salt and pepper, some steak seasoning, and some taco seasoning, just whatever seasoning that you like. We'll add that to the meat and we'll cook that most of the way, strain it off, throw that on a plate, and we'll be ready for the vegetables. So now we're going to saute our vegetables just like normal. Just throw them in. I'm just going to do salt and pepper. Again, I like to keep the meat very seasoned, the vegetables fairly plain, so when they mix, it's a well-balanced dish at the end. We're going to add banana peppers, onions, and jalapenos today. That'll kind of spice it up a little bit and make this homemade Hamburger Helper take it to the next level. So we'll get those on there, saute it, season it. Alright, so next we're going to cook the bacon. We got some thick cut bacon here. I'm just doing some bacon bits on top, so I'm going to cut them long ways and then cut them small ways, just into bits. Throw that on the stove. I'm using 3 slices of thick cut bacon. It should be plenty. It's just going to go on a garnish on top. Throw that on a pan, sear that boy up, and you're good to go. Now after the bacon's done, we're going to throw the pasta in. This is just normal, salt your water. Don't over salt it like I just did. We'll throw the pasta in. Choose your pasta of choice. Probably a smaller noodle is going to be better for this particular recipe. And once that's done, strain it, and we'll be ready to move to the next step. Alright, next we're going to move on to the cheese sauce. This is going to be kind of the more difficult part of the recipe, but just hang with me. So first we're going to put in 2 or 3 tablespoons of butter. Let that brown, don't let it burn, just cook it on a low heat. Once that's starting to shimmer and simmer a little bit, we're going to put in 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Let that stir up. It'll get kind of chunky, it'll look kind of gross, but just trust it. Once it's like that, pour in milk slowly. I'm using half and half, but you can use whatever milk you want. Slowly pour in the milk, whisk it till it gets to a consistent texture. At this point, we'll add the cheese. You can add whatever cheese you want. If you can avoid using pre-shredded cheese, do that. I didn't have any today, so I had to use a pre-shredded. Pre-shredded cheese has an anti-clumping agent in it, so it's not gonna make as good of a sauce as if you just shred it yourself. Whisk to combine, and just slowly stir it. Once it's hot, we're ready to combine all the ingredients together. Now we're going to combine everything in the pan. Just keep it on a low simmer just until it's good to go and everything's combined. The cheese sauce, the meat, the vegetables, and the pasta is all going to go in there together. Keep it on a low heat, combine everything, and you're ready to eat if you're slightly basic. If you want to elevate this dish, we're going to do a few more steps and make it that much better. So at this point, the pasta is going to be a little bit undercooked. That's how we want it, because during the baking process, it's going to absorb some of that cheese sauce, absorb some of that liquid, and cook the rest of the way. So if you have it all the way done, then it'll get mushy at the end, and you don't want a mushy end product. So don't worry that the pasta is a little bit undercooked. You want it that way. Also, when you're combining everything in the pan, if it's still really thick, add a little bit more half and half, add a few tablespoons of butter, and that will help kind of thin out the sauce and make it combine a little bit easier. Next, we're going to throw it all into a casserole pan, top it with the bacon bits, a little more cheese, throw it into an oven at 375 for about 10 minutes until the cheese is melted and everything's hot. Put it on the counter, let it cool for another 10 minutes, and you're ready to eat. Now, like always, we're going to top it with some fresh scallions, bring some color to it, bring a little bit of pop of flavor. To be honest with you guys, I wasn't sure if this recipe was going to come through. It's my first time doing this particular recipe. It ended up being delicious. Thank you for joining me for the journey. That's it for today's video, a little Hamburger Helper on the stove from scratch. Hope you guys liked it. Super simple to make, super easy. Maybe not 30 minutes or less, but close. And I'll see you guys in the next one.